We are also recording. Hello, everyone. We'll be starting in about 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, hello, everyone. We'll start maybe in a minute or two as people are still logging in, so we'll just give it a couple more minutes. Okay, so let's start. Hello, everyone. My name is Amer Shalaby. I'm a professor in the Department of Civil and Mineral Engineering at the University of Toronto, serving as co-chair of the symposium together with Dr. Brendon Hemily. We are very happy and proud to welcome all of you to TransitData 2020, the 6th International Symposium on the Use of Public Transit Automated Data for Planning and Operations, which is taking place online for the first time and with a record high number of registrants, about 250 in total. So thank you for joining us. So as we start this event, I wish to acknowledge the land on which the University of Toronto operates. So for thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and most recently, the Mississaugas of the Credit River. Today, this meeting place is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we at the University of Toronto is grateful for having this opportunity to work on this island, to work on this land. The symposium is proudly co-hosted by UTTRI, which is the University of Toronto Transportation Institute, and TAL, which is the Transit Analytics Lab. The slides are okay. So I wish to take this opportunity to thank and express our gratitude and recognize the sponsors of this symposium, CIMA Plus, CSCED, and GIRO. So on behalf of the organizing and scientific committees, thank you for your generous support. So this event is the 6th edition of the TransitData Workshop, which started back in 2014 in Gifu, Japan. Then it was held annually over the past 40 years in Boston, US, Santiago, Chile, Brisbane, Australia, and most recently Paris last year in France. So like all previous transit data workshops, this symposium will focus on the application of automated transit data to the planning and operations of public transit systems. As we all know, transit data has continued to grow rapidly over the past decade in terms of both magnitude and diversity. And at the same time, a growing number of researchers and practitioners from around the world have made many efforts to harness this data in so many creative ways for improving the attractiveness and efficiency, and now against the background of COVID-19, to improve the safety of public transit systems as well. So our goal in TransitData 2020 is to offer you, all participants, a stimulating and creative environment to achieve 3 objectives. First, to experience a broad panorama of recent applications in both research and practice that use public transit automated data for planning and operations. Second, to gain in-depth knowledge of various promising methods that turn transit data into insights, while at the same time examining key technical issues and challenges. And finally, to explore opportunities for exchange and collaboration between researchers and practitioners. So as a result of the very strong interest in this topic of transit data and its applications in various areas, our symposium was very fortunate to receive a very large number of submissions. So the symposium will feature more than 80 presentations on cutting-edge research and practical applications. And all these presentations will be delivered in a number of parallel sessions that you see in front of you in a unique format of 6-minute lightning talks. In addition, the symposium will feature a number of plenary sessions that will explore a number of emerging topics, including transit agency responses to the COVID-19 pandemic and new sources of transit data, among other topics. So on behalf of the organizing and scientific committees, I thank you for being here, and I wish you an enjoyable and enriching experience at the symposium. So in the remainder of this opening plenary session, we will hear from Eric Miller, who is a professor of civil engineering at the University of Toronto, and Christopher Yip, Dean of the Faculty of Applied Science and Engineering at the University of Toronto, who will each offer welcoming remarks. After that, I will provide a brief overview of the Transit Analytics Lab, which was recently launched at the University of Toronto and is a co-host of this symposium. And finally, Dr. Brendon Hemily will provide an overview of the symposium and provide a few pieces of information about how to navigate and enjoy the experience of this symposium. So it's now my pleasure to introduce my colleague, Professor Eric Miller, who is the founding director of UTTRI, the University of Toronto Transportation Research Institute. Eric?
Thank you, Amer. Good morning, everyone. It is my great pleasure to welcome you on behalf of UTTRI to the opening of the 6th International Symposium on the Use of Public Transit Automated Data for Planning and Operations. That's quite a title. We are so very pleased that you're able to join us, albeit virtually, for what I know will be an exciting and fruitful 3 days of cutting-edge information exchange and discussions. UTTRI was founded in 2013 to bring together the great breadth and depth of transportation research at the University of Toronto, both to advance the state-of-the-art in transportation science, engineering, and planning research, and to carry this research into operational practice. We currently have 50 faculty associates from 22 departments and 8 faculties across the university. We partner with local, regional, provincial, and federal governments, NGOs, and major private sector partners to improve transportation planning, decision-making, and operations in our communities, and to enhance the global competitiveness of our industrial partners. We are committed to undertaking high-impact research that will enhance the equity, sustainability, resilience, and efficiency of our transportation systems. In particular, at this critical time of coping with the COVID-19 pandemic, our researchers are engaged in a wide variety of research projects investigating the impacts on travel behavior and short and longer run policy options for moving forward through what is clearly going to be a long and challenging recovery period. UTTRI's basic and applied research spans all modes of travel, passenger and freight, and spatial scales from the neighborhood to the nation. We have particular strengths in quantitative systems analysis and modeling, as well as in planning, data collection and management methods, transportation economics, and public engagement, among other areas. For the next 3 days, we're going to enjoy diving deeply into public transit data analytics. In the fall of 2021, we will shift gears and host the 16th International Nectar Conference, conditions permitting. And in between, we'll be hosting a series of virtual seminars and workshops showcasing UTTRI research activities and addressing current, local, and international policy issues. So please go to our website, uttri.ca, to learn more about our activities and to join our mailing list. Again, a hearty virtual welcome to Toronto and the conference. And with no further ado, I'll turn you over to Professor Christopher Yip, Dean of the Faculty of Applied Science and Engineering, who will extend his welcome on behalf of the faculty and the University of Toronto. Over to you, Chris.
Great. Am I up? Great. Thanks, Eric. And so thank you, and thank you everyone for taking the time to be here, albeit virtually. On behalf of the faculty and the Applied Science Engineering and the University of Toronto, I'd like to welcome you all here to this important symposium. Here at U of T, we pride ourselves on preparing the next generation of leaders and innovators to take on some of those complex challenges we face. And for me, obviously, transit is one of those, and encompasses so many, as Eric and Amer have described. With more than half of the world living in cities, by 2050, we want like 2/3, and in Canada, we're already around 80% of us living in large cities. And so the challenges of safer, smarter and more sustainable transit and more sustainable cities is clearly front of mind for us. And so, as Amer mentioned, transit is one of the plays a key role in addressing our global challenges around climate. We see opportunities to make our air cleaner and improve our health, so there's a public health component, and as we see right now the effect of COVID-19 and how transportation is evolving and what it's going to evolve into as a consequence of the pandemic is certainly, again, very important at the moment. These challenges are significant and they present obvious key opportunities for us, unique opportunities to look at our current transit systems and see what we can change them into. There's so much more data and so many more things that have changed over the recent years. Those who created current transit systems never had to think about things like ride sharing and self-driving cars and drone delivery. And these are all things which are going to change and modify our behaviors. They also didn't have access to as much data. Maybe we don't think that's as good. I think we have too much data now to worry about. Then the tools to try and unlock some of the insights that we can gain using artificial intelligence and machine learning. Using these tools effectively gives us new ways to look at this data with valuable insights, communicate them to the right people, and really look at transportation as you're all aware, in a very complex and multimodal, multi-length scale, as Eric just mentioned, system to design solutions that work for everybody in all contexts. And you're all here because you're passionate about this. I was getting emails from my admin saying, you know, the size of this conference keeps scaling up and up and up over the last couple of days. So congratulations for pulling together such a large and passionate group. As you've already heard from Eric and Amer, there's a lot of innovative thinking that's been going on at U of T in this area. U of T has a long history of looking at complex challenges which really leverage our urban location. These include the launch of our School of Cities, which is the first institution-wide effort in the area of innovative, interdisciplinary work in urban research, education, engagement. Eric mentioned the UTTRI effort back in 2013. As its launch, U of T Engineering is the home of the Transportation Tomorrow Survey, the largest ongoing urban travel survey in the world. So we're really proud of how engineering has played such a key role in bringing all of this together. As Eric mentioned, it's the UTTRI effort, broad, brings together experts from engineering, economics, policy, urban geography, and planning, computer science, and more in this really concentrated effort. I'm proud to be an ongoing sponsor of UTTRI, as Eric knows from various emails he's been sending me about support. U of T is also the home of the Vector Institute, a national center of excellence around AI and the applications of AI into various sectors to help economic growth and improve the lives of Canadians. In our own faculty, and this was the first for the university, we created the Center for Analytics and Artificial Intelligence in Engineering called CART, which is really designed to leverage our expertise in AI towards sector-specific knowledge. So these kind of problems, transportation and so on, and transit, urban mobility, these are problems and challenges that which CART is going to be integral to, and we're so excited to bring all these groups together. And last but certainly not least, I am proud to have provided through our Dean Strategic Fund, and Eric is also familiar with the Dean Strategic Fund and supporting UTTRI as well, to create the Transit Analytics Lab, which Amer will talk about in a little bit, in a few minutes, to talk about the efforts there. This will really bring together folks on a wide range of activities to look at in the creation of data analytics platforms and also launching these sorts of symposia, which bring together people from around the world. So again, very excited opportunities and very keen to have been integral to supporting these. This is a multidisciplinary symposium, and something which is key to engineering, is key to the success of the University of Toronto, and key to what we see as the success of these efforts around transportation. It's amazing that you're able to bring together, and it's it's inspiring to see how you can bring together partners from government, the private sector, and academia in these such important joint ventures. So congratulations. I see that you have a very full-packed seminar schedule with over 80 presentations tabled up over the next few days, and as I heard earlier, well over 250 participants. So congratulations. It's going to be a busy few days of webinars, so enjoy, and I look forward to hearing how this session goes. So I'm going to hand it back over to Amer actually to talk about the Transportation Analytics, the Transit Analytics Lab. So Amer.
Well, thank you so much, Dean Yip, and thanks, Eric, for your welcome remarks. So I'm going to shift gears now to just give you an overview of the Transit Analytics Lab. Okay. Okay, so as Dean Yip mentioned, we recently received a generous seed fund from the Faculty of Engineering through the a special program called the Dean Strategic Fund. So this initiative was deemed as one of a number of strategic initiatives in the Faculty of Applied Science and Engineering. So we're just at the very early stages of this initiative. So it goes without saying that we see a lot of disrupting trends influencing the transit system, from electrification of transit, vehicles and systems, automation and connectivity, shared mobility solutions that can compete with public transit, and sometimes they can actually supplement public transit, as well as big data. And all of this now is really against the background of COVID-19 pandemic, which is adding another layer of effects and challenges and issues that all public transit practitioners as well as researchers are trying to grapple with. We are all witnessing a new era of big transit data. So transit agencies are increasingly becoming data rich as they equip their systems with more intelligent transportation systems for automated passenger counting, for vehicle monitoring and fare payment. Simultaneously, we also see a number of new sources of transit data that are emerging, such as social media, but tweets posted on by transit riders on transit service, and mobile phone apps and sensors, location-based services, and sensors like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and accelerometer. So all those devices are generating a lot of information and data. And this is over and above the traditional data that we've had, or transit agencies have had, or for so many years, household travel surveys, passenger count surveys, network and schedule data, vehicle speed surveys, rider satisfaction surveys. So this is sort of the traditional data that we had, but over and above that, we're having new sources of data that is becoming increasingly really large in size and also quite diverse. So the process of harnessing this data and turning it from just data into insights and decisions requires really advanced analytics, not only for its storage, processing, and visualization, but also for analysis, prediction, and optimization of our transit systems. And this is really the main motivation of TAL, as is the case with many other similar transit research centers around the world. And we're going to hear tomorrow from a number of them about their activities as well. But this is really the driving force. This is the motivation for really creating research initiatives that try to tackle those issues. So TAL really came out of this need. And its really main intent is to provide a common forum for both researchers and practitioners, not only transit researchers, but also technology and social sciences researchers, bring them all together with private sector practitioners, as well as transit agency and public sector practitioners, so government staff, transit agency staff, tech company practitioners and consulting firms and so on, which are all really trying to tackle the same challenge of really turning this abundant data and diverse data into processes that can help improve the efficiency and attractiveness and safety of public transit systems. So more specifically, TAL, the Transit Analytics Lab, aims for fostering innovation in transit data-driven tools using advanced methods in data science, machine learning, AI, simulation, and statistics. Second objective of TAL is to train the next generation of transit planners and practitioners in transit data analytics and their application to public transit decision making. The third objective of TAL is to provide the professional community with knowledge and technology transfer activities related to advanced analytics. We don't really want to keep any new knowledge that's created in-house or any new technology that's created in-house, just keep it to ourselves, but we want to facilitate really the transfer of such knowledge and technology to our partners in the transit industry, be it in the public sector or the private sector. And also to work with other technology and data scientists to try to improve and develop further the standards and integration methods that will advance really the application of those analytics in real life and help really mash them up into new applications and new innovative tools. Our scope, we try to be as broad as possible in terms of the types of services and modes. So we are doing research in both fixed route transit as well as demand responsive transit. And in fixed route transit, we're trying to look at all modes, rail and bus modes. Within the decision-making domain, again, we're trying as much as we can to cover use cases of transit data analytics in service planning, in scheduling, in real-time management, customer experience, corporate management, and maintenance. So to a large extent, we're trying to really cover as many as we can from those areas. And the analytics that we started building really cover the spectrum of descriptive analytics, predictive analytics, as well as optimization-based prescriptive analytics. So it's a very ambitious scope. I'm not really claiming that we are covering all of that right now, but this is really our aim. And this is going to happen with the collaboration of people within the university and outside. Some sort of near-term target outcomes in three broad categories: models and analytics, transit solutions, and training. So under the first pillar, we're trying to develop new, advanced, and efficient analytics for ridership prediction, for travel time prediction, for processing and extracting useful information from social media forums. So we're trying to develop analytics to do that. Also trying to develop data-driven and web-based planning platforms to enable transit planners exploring different planning scenarios and trying to estimate the different outcomes of planning scenarios, as well as dynamic scheduling. We're also trying to get into the more mobile-based solutions like digital assistants to help route management staff, for example, to improve the operations of their services, dashboards for performance measurement and for decision making. We've been doing some work in disruption management, specifically rail disruption management, and we started building some tools. We will continue working in this on this track, aiming really to develop a comprehensive disruption management toolkit, and in conjunction with this, also demand management under normal conditions as well as under disrupted conditions, how to manage the demand and flows in an efficient way. So again, we've done some recent work on this, and there's some ongoing work in that area as well. One of the ideas we have also is really to develop this bank or repository of fundamental or foundational analytics for third-party developers, such that they can actually do not necessarily always have to reinvent the wheel, but really can utilize and mash up those analytics or tools to come up with new solutions. In terms of training, one of our mandates actually is to develop a graduate course in transit analytics to be offered in civil engineering as well as in other programs in our faculty, as well as to offer and develop professional training courses in analytics. I should mention that we've been offering 2 short professional courses every year for the past 11 years or so. This is now, TAL offers a new opportunity to enrich that program with more courses specifically targeting transit data analytics. We're also planning to do some transit data hackathons for app development, especially for our engineering and computer science students. Obviously, TAL cannot do all of this without really the collaboration and engagement of multiple individuals and centers. Very close to home. So TAL is one unit within UTTRI, which is the Transportation Research Institute. Other units within UTTRI that also overlap, and really there's so much synergy with TAL, is the data management group that has been responsible for conducting and maintaining the Transportation Tomorrow Survey, one of the largest in the world. Also, the recent Center for Automated and Transformative Transportation Systems is another center within UTTRI that is concerned with automated and connected technologies as applied to transportation. Obviously, transit is one of the modes that benefit from that, as well as the ITS Center and Testbed. Dean Yip already mentioned CART, the Center for Analytics and Artificial Intelligence Engineering, which is a cross-departmental center of excellence, and PAL will definitely benefit from engaging, as well as the Vector Institute based at the University of Toronto, which is mainly concerned with and focused on AI, as well as the School of Cities. Also, we have new degree programs. I just mentioned 2 Master of Engineering in Analytics. This is a very recent program that our graduate course will be offered within that program as well as within Engineering Science program, which is an undergraduate program. There's a new machine intelligence major. So courses that we are developing are candidate really to be as technical electives for such a program. Our research team consists now of professors from civil engineering as well as other departments. So myself, Professor Eric Miller, Kanker Noor Al-Habib, and Tamer Darabi, all from civil and mineral engineering. But we also have from mechanical and industrial engineering, Professor Merv Budur, Professor Timothy Chan, Professor Mark Fox, and from geography and planning, Professor Steve Farber. We have a longer list of also other professors who do collaborate with us, but this is, as it stands now, is the core team. We have a large number of research staff. Our research team really benefits from a large group of students at all levels, from the undergrad, master's level, PhD, as well as postdoc and research associates. So we have a large group, and we're aiming to even grow larger as we move forward. Just a sample of some projects that are ongoing at the moment. We have a partnership project with a number of agencies trying to develop tools to process social media content. And we're going to see a presentation later today on this topic. Transit signal priority in the new era of automation and connectivity and big data. So TSP can benefit so much from the available and abundant data that's going to be enabled by both automation and connectivity. So we have an ongoing project on this. Data-driven planning of hybrid transit networks of both fixed and flexible route services. So the next generation transit networks will not be entirely fixed or entirely flexible. They will be hybrid, and there's an opportunity now to develop new planning frameworks and platforms to help transit agencies and practitioners to plan such networks in hybrid mode. Multimodal transit hub flow management. we have one of the biggest hubs in North America here, Union Station, where about 300,000 people use every single day, and it's really the host to a number of modes, commuter rail, subway, buses, and so on, even streetcars. So we have an ongoing project now to develop tools to manage the flows and also utilize data from Wi-Fi, from smart card data, and so on. Prediction and control tools for rail disruption management. I mentioned earlier, this is an area that has been active for the past few years on specifically bus bridging. And we're relying very heavily on data on subway incidents from AVL, from APC, and so on. Also demand prediction and the effects of new mobility and major events, especially COVID-19. I'm sure many of us are concerned about the effects of COVID-19 on ridership, both in the short term as well as the long term. So this is also one of the areas we're trying to get to be active in, as well as commuter rail planning and management analytics. Last, I would like to also highlight and really acknowledge our partners in this initiative, which really represent the different sectors in the transit industry, the public sector, being transit agencies, municipal governments, transportation authorities, private sector. We work closely with tech companies and consulting firms, as well as the research funding agencies, both at the federal and provincial level, as well as nonprofit organizations. This is a very quick high-level overview of TAL. So thank you so much, and I'm sure you will also see some of the outcomes of TAL over the next 3 days, and I'll be happy to, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. But at this point, I would like to turn it over to Dr. Brendon Hemily, who will walk us through the program and give us a few pieces of information.
Thank you, Amer. So, got a good view of all the exciting things happening at U of T. And I thought, as I transition to the next plenary, I would first give a little brief view of how I fit in, and then talk about the symposium, where it came from, and what all the neat things we're providing to all of you. So my name is Brendon Hemily. My affiliation is a little obscure. Hemily and Associates is a fancy name for saying I'm an independent consultant. But I've had the very interesting position of being right between research and practice. I worked for 15 years for the Canadian Urban Transit Association as manager of research and technical services. CUTA is the Canadian counterpart to APTA. And I also supported the US DOT for 10 years, supporting their transit ITS activities. But at the same time, on the research side, I've been very involved in TRB, past chair, emeritus member of the Transit Planning Committee, and now I'm group chair of the entire public transportation group of TRB. So I was really excited to work with Amer, Pat, Willem, Siva, and all the grad students to do this symposium, because it really is an effort to try to build the bridge between the academic world of transit data and analytics and the world of practitioners who are increasingly becoming knowledgeable about use of data. I have to say it's been a very long journey. When I started at CUTA in 1985, 88, I organized an international conference on AVL, where we first recognized the value of the use of data, but it's taken a very long time in the industry to get to a point where there is such a large interest in the availability of data and a large interest in using the data. So the symposium, Amer and I have been involved in it for many years. Nigel is sort of the Amy Nels Greaves of that, and we'll come back to that very shortly. But basically, it was a group of academics who had a keen interest in using data, automated data, automatic vehicle location, AVL, automatic passenger counting, APC, smart card data, or AFC, advanced fare collection data, to look at things like determining origin destination patterns, looking at on-time performance, looking at passenger flows and transfers, and but they were sort of working in a little bit of an isolation. And I was, as one of the token non-academics, I was somewhat frustrated by the fact that there was lots of really cool information there that would be of use to practitioners, and yet it wasn't getting out. So Amer and I, with nudging from Nigel, proposed to broaden the symposium, to really reach out and broaden its application, to keep the methodology part of it, but to broaden it in terms of its use for dashboards and applications, and also start grappling with the problems of data management, data governance, and the challenges of collaboration. So you'll see throughout the symposium a number of activities, so both the parallel sessions and the plenary. So back to, we did the call for submissions, we got a very good response, and then the pandemic hit. And at first we were going to postpone it, but we decided in the end it was best to try to hold it virtually, and we only made that decision May 25th, so this has been a marathon to get this to work. But we did, I think, and it's really we're offering you a really interesting array of activities. We decided to make all the presentations lightning style, 6 minutes, 6 to 8 slides, but with an emphasis of availability of the actual presentations. This is something, it's always a frustration for me, a failure that the dissemination is so poor. So we've actually obtained a majority of those presentations, and if you go to the main union website, you see the interactive program, you'll see there links for both the short 6-minute presentations and the longer versions. We ask people, if at all possible, to prepare a longer version. The majority of them are already there. We'll complete them as much as we can, and they'll be available to all of you. So that is really part of the mandate of trying to make sure that this information is really given to people. And then we're supplementing it with a number of, and you'll see in the parallel sessions, a number of themes about both practical applications, sort of analytical, methodological, and a number of other types of topics like policy, rail-specific applications, data governance, data management. And then we're supplementing those with plenaries to emphasize this effort of bridging the gap between practitioner world and the research world. So tomorrow there's a spotlight on a number of transit labs, analytics labs that have been around the world that have been working often in collaboration with transit agencies. And there'll be a session on data management tomorrow afternoon. There's another session on sort of the practices about data specifications, another session on the third day on new forms of data, and then collaboration, and then we'll wrap up with looking to the future. But we also wanted to make it fun. So Amer with his grad students have cooked up some really cool things. At lunchtime today at 1 o'clock, there'll be a video show about transit across Canada. Tomorrow morning, pre-show at 8:30, which is sort of a look at Canada. Then we'll also have a keynote speaker at lunch, Dr. Kerry Watkins from Georgia Tech, who will talk about using data for doing deep dives into analyzing ridership. And on Thursday morning, again, pre-show, that'll be, that's the tour of Canada. The one on tomorrow is the tour of Toronto and U of T. And then on Thursday at lunch, there'll be a sort of a historical perspective of transit in Toronto. So we're going to try to make these interactive as possible. We're trying to capture the information. So the Q&A, you'll see on the main union site, there's a Q&A column. We're asking people, to the extent possible, please use that, and we'll try to get the presenter to respond to that so we can actually capture that discussion in a more formal way. Amer, Willem, have I forgotten anything I should mention? I think those are the main things.
Yeah, I think you mentioned the main things. So again, yeah, just the Q&A we're really thinking it would be very beneficial for everyone to really capture those in Google Documents. And those will be available to everyone by the end of the symposium. So we encourage you throughout the parallel sessions in particular, if you have any questions, just go to the Google document, find really the presentation you're interested in, and then ask your questions there. The presenter will also check the same document and they will answer you there.
I should add one thing. A lot of the symposiums in the past, because they were focused more on the academic, keenly involved, were quite small, 60 to 80 people. So we really made an effort to reach out, to put a program that would attract a broader range of practitioners. And we're very pleased that we've had as good a response as we've had. It was a challenge trying to fit all this together, but I think it's going to be pretty cool. So with that, maybe we'll do a transition to Plenary 2. Nigel, can you come on board?
Good morning, Brendon. Good morning, everyone.
Greetings. Well, we wanted to start off with an informal conversation, but just before we do that, we have a polling question. Willem, maybe you could run the polling question about who's attending the session.
Absolutely, I'll set it up right now.
So we wanted to get a bit of a snapshot of who's here and what category of kinds of people. So please, if you could just tick off one of the boxes and take 30 seconds, 60 seconds to do so. Willem, I'll let you decide when we've got a good response.
Absolutely. Those of you on the panel, you're welcome to vote also.
Oh, can I do it as a panel? Oh, there we go.
Give it another few seconds. All right, we'll do another 10 seconds to get the last few people in. We have 91% participation so far. So
suspense is killing me.
All right, let's close it. And if you'd like to see the results, drum roll.
Da-da-da-dum. Oh, wow.
Amazing.
Got an even split between the, well, actually, if you add the agency and consultants together as practitioners, I think we're more than the academics. So we've succeeded. At least there's a balance. So thank you very much, Willem.